It's the Peak Signing Agents podcast with your host, Derek Van Otten, or you may call me DVO. And you can find me on social media at D Van Otten or at Peak Signing. That's where you can find me on all different platforms of social media. I try to be there. Okay, have you ever been frustrated in this business, in this industry? We all have been. We've all had some experience that just frustrated us, that maybe bothered us, and we maybe complain. And that's okay. That's okay to have emotions, right? That's okay to go through day to day in life and have things that just kind of bother us or annoy us or just frustrates us. And sometimes there's, who can we complain to? And that's what's nice when you're part of a group of other notary signing agents, because then they kind of understand what you're going through. Luckily, my wife at some point was a signing agent as well, and she helped me out sometimes. So she understood what I went through, and so I can complain to her sometimes and say, hey, this thing came up, and this was frustrating, and this was annoying. And she's like, you can just be there to be by my side. And sometimes I just need to do that, and I just feel better, right? Sometimes you just have to let some steam out, get it out there, just kind of share your emotions a little bit, and then you feel better. Like, I know I feel better after speaking to my wife or speaking to another signing agent or speaking to my mentor, or speaking to other signing service owners. Just say, hey, oh my gosh, this is what I'm experiencing. Have you experienced this? How did you handle this? How did you fix it? Sometimes complaining can be good in that aspect when you're trying to find solutions, or you're just trying to let a little steam out a little bit. Sometimes you just need to let that steam out a little bit or get it off your chest a little bit. That's okay. I'm going to talk about the negative sides of complaining a little bit as well, too. Okay? Because also complaining, what it does, it chemically affects you, by the way. Being negative, being depressed, being upset, being angry, it chemically affects you. And I know I've had to work on my road rage a little bit, right? I've never had road rage where I'm yelling at people or flipping people off or trying to pick fights. I'm not like that. But I'll get mad and be like, oh my gosh, this person's an idiot, right? And I'm just more screaming at myself inside my vehicle, complaining about somebody else. So that's the extent of my road rage. Nothing physical happens. I don't yell at people. But that affects me though. I do notice when someone does something stupid on the road, I get angry. I'm like, what is this moron doing? And then I'm annoyed for a little bit. And I role play in my mind what I want to do to them. But that's negative, right? That's a negative thought process. And that affects me because that affects my mood. That affects my chemicals inside of my body. It affects you. I'm not trying to be like some holistic teacher here. This is science. This is science proven. Your thoughts, your mentality, your emotions affects you chemically. It releases cortisol, endorphins, different things like that in your body. It affects your blood flow. This is facts, okay? You can look it up, but this is fact. This is science. So I try to control it when I'm always trying to be a very aware driver, but if someone does something that bothers me, I just have to take a deep breath, like, oh gosh, what an idiot. Well, they almost caused an accident. I'm trying not to think, hey, they are personally out there attacking me on the roads. No, that's not what's happening. They just made a poor judgment at the time, this other driver. So I try to be a little bit more calm and a little bit more relaxed about it. But let's talk about business here. Because things bother us as signing agents, right? Documents come last minute. They canceled the signing. Someone canceled the signing. They didn't let the signer know. We're calling the signer, and the signer is mad at us. We're like, we had no control over this. We're just basically, don't shoot the messenger at this point. We're just letting you know what we've been told, right? Those happen. Oh, there's a change. Hey, we have a last minute change. Can you print out these documents? Things happen, right? Oh, we forgot to add these documents. Can you please print these as well? It happens, Oh, the signer was mad at me because there was an extra fee that I have no control over, right? I told them to call their loan officer, but the signer was yelling at me. We've all had something similar happen to us. If you've been doing this enough, things happen that frustrate us. You got a flat tire. You got in a car accident. Your printer's not working, your scanner's not working, your computer just died. It happens, all right? And so I just want you to know it's okay, and that's normal. It's okay to go through the emotions. Sometimes you want to complain. Hey, that's okay. But I want to talk about the negative side of complaining, because I see so many signing agents in different groups and forums, and I can just tell they're complainers because they complain about everything. They complain. I saw someone complain that in the notary block under their signature, where it says notary signature, underneath they had to write their expiration date. They were so annoyed by that. And I'm like, because it was in their stamp. And I put the comment, hey, just because it's in your stamp, it doesn't mean it's in every state's stamp. And so the mortgage company just wants it there for whatever reason, right? It's not our job to decide why they want it there. And in my head, I'm like, is every loan package you do they want you to write that in every loan package? Or is it just the one you're working on? Or maybe the last couple you've done? And I guess sometimes people are venting on social media, and that's okay. Maybe you're trying to get your community around you to help you understand something. But I'm looking at people's responses. I'm looking at this person's reply to their responses. And again, it's just negativity. And I almost want to just write this on there, but I didn't do it. But I almost want to say, listen, bro, because I did say that, hey, just because your states have it doesn't mean every states have it, and they're just being, this mortgage company just wants it there. It is what it is. Is it that hard for you to write an extra date? And as I'm looking at his replies to every response to his post, I almost just wanted to reply back one more time to say, listen, I can tell just from the way you're responding, you are not going to last in this business. You are going to quit. Complainers, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're someone that complains, it can be about anything. If you're always complaining about your spouse, if you're always complaining about business, if you're always complaining, it's just not going to last. If you're just someone that's always complaining about everything your spouse does, there's a good chance your marriage is not going to last. If you're going to complain about every little detail that needs to be done in this industry, you're not going to last. If you want to last in this industry, just realize there's some things that you have to do. And if you have a client that on every mortgage document and they want you to write in your notary expiration date, you either are just going to do it or you just don't work with them anymore, or you're just not going to last in this industry, because that means you're just going to be annoyed about every little thing. I saw someone post how they were annoyed that they had to conduct an oath. I mean, that before you became a notary, it told you how to conduct oaths. If you're surprised that you have to conduct an oath now, you're just not going to last. Complainers are just not going to last. I was in one of my local meetups, and every time someone had a question, or they were asking, oh, why is it that we have to do this? It was just a general question. But this person, every time they answered, they had their face just contorted. Like they just had like this gross face, like they smelled something disgusting. Like, you know, when you smell something, you make that face when you smell something gross. Every time they answered a question, they made that face as they answered the question. And I'm just looking at them thinking, you're not going to last. You're not going to be at my next meetup, because you're not going to last. I was thinking that in my head, and guess what? They weren't at my next meetup. I can just tell. Complainers, people that just continuously complain and nag, they don't make it. In any business or industry that they get into, if you're going to complain about every little thing, you're not going to make it. So I just want you to think about it for a moment. Are you someone that is always complaining? If you are, you need to make a change in some way. Maybe you need to make a change in, do you want to continue doing this? Do you need to not work with certain companies? Or do you need to change it? I just need to just accept it for what it is and change my attitude about it. Because it might be an attitude adjustment. And that's okay. Talking about my road rage, right? I had to make an attitude adjustment. I can't control how other people are on the road. I can't control that. And in this business, in this industry, I'm constantly on the road. So do I want it to affect me? Do I want to constantly have my blood boil? Do I want to constantly be angry when I'm driving? No, that's not the way to live my life. That's not a positive way to live my life. Some people continue to choose to live life that way. I chose to make a change. I can make a change of, you know what? I'm only going to work in this industry if I have to drive to title companies and just work in the title office signing. Or I'm only going to accept signings in the middle of the day when there's less traffic. Or I'm not going to work in this industry anymore because I don't want to be on the road. I don't want to be in any type of business where I'm constantly driving. These are decisions I could make, but the decision I chose to make, I felt was a better decision for me, and that was I have to just be more positive. I have to accept the fact that most people are good drivers, and there are people that are just terrible drivers. I have to accept that and just realize I have to be more aware on the road. So I have to make sure I'm concentrating. I'm not focusing on my phone while I'm driving. None of us should anyway. But I'm not focusing on my phone. I'm focusing on the road. I have to understand when someone does something which I find to be idiotic, that they were not intentionally out to make me angry. They just made a poor judgment in it when they pulled out or when they stopped or when they tapped their brake, whatever it is, right? I'm trying to hold my composure now, thinking of all the stupid things people make or do on the road. But it happens. I just decided to make a better choice for myself, which was I can't control them. I just can shake my head. When someone does something what I find to be moronic, I'm just going to shake my head and say, good thing I was paying attention and I didn't get into an accident. Right? I had to switch that in my brain a little bit. Because I found myself constantly complaining, constantly angry at people. But that wasn't good for me, right? I'm trying to live to 120 years old. If I'm always complaining and always mad, I'm not going to live to 120. So I have to change my mindset. I have to be more calm. I'm not listening to heavy metal when I'm driving. I'm listening mostly to audiobooks and podcasts, and I'm having conversations. I'm having intellectual conversations with myself and the people that can't hear me through the podcast or YouTube. But it was a change I had to make because I couldn't constantly be negative. So you can't always be negative. And I'm talking any aspect of your life, by the way. I know I'm this is gears towards signing agents and notaries. Yes, I get mad. At the end of the month when I have mortgage officers going to my title officer and saying, hey, we need this done right now and we need it back tomorrow, and they're in another state. And the other state is on the East Coast and they're 2 or 3 hours ahead of us. We need this signed and back tomorrow. Am I annoyed that there's a rush order? Yes. But can I control that? No. So I have to make decisions. What decisions do I have to make? The decisions I have to make are, I don't want to be a signing service anymore. Maybe I don't want to do this anymore. Maybe I don't want to work with a certain company because this happens a lot with certain companies. Maybe I don't want to work with a certain company anymore. Maybe I want to drop them as a client. Or I just have to staff better and say, hey, you know what? All right, team, it's the end of the month. We have to have all hands on deck. We have to be prepared for last minute signings to come through. So maybe me personally, I will not be doing signings as much. Maybe I'm helping my scheduler coordinate the closings, and we're just gonna tag team and just make sure we get everyone taken care of. That is the approach that I have taken. Okay, we have the right to make our own decisions on how we run our own business here, and I just want you to live a long life. I don't want you to be stressed out. I want you to last and be successful in this business. So if you're always complaining, you catch yourself making weird faces every time you have to do something, or every time you get a phone call, you look at your phone like, ugh. You have to make a change, whether you want to continue doing this or it's a mindset change. Okay? And whichever you choose is the correct answer for you. Just know that. I'm not saying you're a quitter. If you decide I don't want to do this anymore, I'm not saying you're a quitter. If this is too stressful, I'm not saying, oh, you're weak, you can't do this. I'm not saying that at all. I just want you to be happy. My dad, for a moment when he first retired, he got a part-time job doing delivery, big trucks, and it was like an on-call situation. So he might be having a great weekend with us, and then his phone rings for an on-call order that he have to go do. And I could see every time that phone rang, it had a ringtone, okay? It had a certain ringtone. And every time that ringtone went off, I could see him cringe a little bit. That means he wasn't happy. I'm like, Dad, you're not happy. Stop doing this job. And he quit, and he was much happier for quitting, right? It just wasn't making him happy. It's like, don't live in a life where you're cringing when your phone rings. Same here. If your phone goes off and it's a text message, like, if you're cringing, hey, either this is not right for you, or you need to change your mentality and think, I need to put a happy ringtone to certain things, and be like, when that ringtone goes off, yes, that's an order. That's a potential order for me to take to make money to provide for me and my family. It's a mindset. I know this is a little bit shorter of an episode, but I just want to talk about that because I've seen a lot of people complaining, and I just want you to know, if you're the type of person that's complaining, it's not good for you, and also if you just continue to complain, you're not going to last. So you have to make a change in some aspect, in some form. You'll have to make a change, and make the change that's right for you. Okay? Keep being awesome, because you are. Keep striving to be the peak signing agent you are meant to be, because that's what you're doing, and you deserve it. And I'll catch you on the next episode. Bye now.